When you scroll through endless espresso machine listings, you've probably felt that knot in your stomach. The pictures look glossy, the headlines promise caf-quality drinks, but there's a nagging fear that the thing will sit on the counter like a decorative paperweight and never deliver a decent shot. I've been there, spent an hour watching video reviews, reading a handful of comments, and still feeling unsure whether I'd be wasting money on another almost professional unit that only works when everything lines up perfectly. That hesitation is what drives a lot of us to skip the whole homebrew idea and settle for cheap pods, even though the taste suffers. If you've ever dreamed of pulling a genuine espresso at home but worried about ending up with a machine that looks great on the listing and disappoints in real use, stay tuned. Link is in the description if you want to check the product details on Amazon. The VZQKXGBWRHT Italian espresso machine tries to bridge the gap between a full-size commercial unit and a countertop beginner's model. It's marketed as a semi-automatic machine with a built-in grinder, an automatic milk frother, and a capacity that can handle 5 to 10 cups before you have to refill the water tank. That sounds appealing for a household that drinks multiple coffees a day or for a small office that wants to offer a step up from instant coffee. The first question you need to ask yourself is, how often will you actually be making espresso, and do you value convenience over the ritual of grinding beans by hand? If you're the kind of person who wants to hit the brew button and have the machine take care of grinding, tamping, and frothing without you hovering over each step, this machine aligns with that workflow. The integrated grinder is a nice inclusion because it eliminates the need to buy a separate burr grinder, which can add $100 or more to the total cost. For families with kids, the automatic frother reduces mess. Just pour milk, press a button, and you get a velvety microfoam that holds up for latte art. In real-world terms, I've seen people use the frother for everything from cappuccinos to hot chocolate, and the result is consistently foamy enough to sit on a spoon without collapsing immediately. That's a practical win for anyone who wants a quick, decent-looking milk-based drink without mastering the manual steam wand. On the flip side, the semi-automatic nature means you still have to manage several steps manually. You'll need to dose the right amount of beans, select the grind size, if the machine offers that adjustment, and tamp the puck before the brew cycle begins. Those steps are not automatically handled, which can be a stumbling block if you're looking for a completely push-button experience. In my experience, the learning curve isn't steep, but it does require you to pay attention during the first few uses. If you're hoping for a one-touch espresso button that does everything, you'll be disappointed. The machine also requires a 220V power supply, which limits its use to regions with that standard voltage. If you live in North America or travel often, you'll need a step-down transformer, and that adds both cost and inconvenience. Another practical consideration is the water tank capacity. While the spec says it can handle 5 to 10 cups before refilling, the actual volume is around 1.5 liters. For a single-serve household, that's more than enough refill once a day and you're good. For a small office that brews 3 or 4 drinks per hour, you'll find yourself topping up fairly often, which interrupts the flow. I've seen a colleague who tried to use it in a co-working space complain that the tank ran dry mid-meeting, forcing a quick trip to the sink. So, if you need a machine that can run continuously for a large group without refilling, you might look at larger commercial models instead. One area where the VZQKXGBWRHT really shines is consistency of the espresso shot once you dial in the grind and tamp correctly. The semi-automatic pump delivers stable pressure, and the built-in grinder, when set properly, produces a fine grind that extracts a balanced flavor. Users who have taken the time to calibrate the grind notice a noticeable difference between a weak, watery shot and a rich, layered espresso with a thin crema. That's the kind of practical payoff you're after if you enjoy experimenting with beans and want the flavor to reflect your choices, rather than settling for a bland default. However, the machine's build isn't designed for heavy daily commercial use. The metal housing is thin, and the steam wand, or rather the automatic frother, can become temperamental after a few months of frequent steaming. In a handful of long-term reviews, owners reported that the frother started to sputter or lose pressure, requiring a reset. If you plan to run the machine for 8 or more drinks a day, you might encounter wear sooner than you'd like. That's a trade-off you need to weigh against the lower entry price compared to higher-end semi-automatic models that have sturdier brass boilers and more robust steam systems. So, who should buy this espresso machine? It fits.